How's it going? Dave in Comic Book Investments. So, got some stuff back from CGC. Figure I'd go through it, do a little talk, have a few rants. You know, I like that kind of stuff, and I hope you guys do too, because I do it a lot. But yeah, I have an interesting question that I really don't know the answer to, and I'm hoping some fans out there can help me out. So I'll go through some comics and then I'll talk about it. So at least it's just not ranting in the beginning. All right, first we got Black Suit. In case you don't know the order it goes, there's a lot of speculation, and it's about like what was published first and all that kind of stuff. This was published first. Spider-Man 252, that was the first Black Suit. Then it was, I don't know. What was the next one? I forget. I think I even did a video on it. But I believe this was the first one that actually came out first. Then there's a couple other ones that have the black suit at around the same time. It all comes down to this kid wrote into Marvel or something like that, talking about how you should make Spider-Man black. I think this is a story I'm getting mixed up. They even like gave him like $200 or something like that. I can't remember. Back then in 19, whatever this was 80 something. So that's like equivalent to like 16 million today. Anyways, came back great. I was hoping for 179. Next we got is first appearance of Carnage. Did you know that Todd McFarlane did not make Venom's tongue long? You know, the typical long tongue. I even think he's said on record that he doesn't really like that. That was all Mark Bagley that did it. 361 came great. I was hoping for 119. And here we go. This one came. Okay, let's see. This one was 584. This one's 1284. So much later. This is the newsstand, but it makes no real difference in this grade at a 9.0. 229. So this is the origin of Black Suit. So first they had the black suit, and it was just black suit. Then people got mad that, hey, we want the old suit back. So then Spider-Man gets his old suit back. But then they're like, oh my gosh, we actually like the black suit. So then he goes back to the black suit, which I think Black Cat made, because it turned out to be like a symbiote, and it was making him go all weird, and so he didn't like it. So they got rid of the black suit. He got his normal suit on. People liked it. So I think Black Cat sewed him a black suit just to wear as a black suit. Something like that. I don't know. I did a video on it, or at least I thought I did. I can't really remember anymore. What am I looking at? Marvel Superhero Secret Wars 229, which is, in case you didn't know, is the price. All these will be on our website, collectorscomics.com. First appearance of Deathstroke. You know what's funny is, like, for some reason I always thought this was Deathstroke, but it's actually this guy back here. This one is, I forget what this guy is. This is like I want to say the Terminator. No, Deathstroke the Terminator. No, I don't even know who that other guy is. Hoping for 9294, got a 92. 215. And then here we got the first appearance of Vigilante, Adrian Chase. There's been a lot of vigilantes. Even DC had their own vigilante. I think he appeared in Action Comics in like the Golden Age. Had like a little sword, little like thin sword, little mustache, like a French guy or something. Came with grade I was hoping for $99. At one point, this was a lot more expensive. Not so much anymore. This one is an interesting one. So this one, let's see what I graded it. Sandman number 8. Sorry. Sandman number 8. First appearance of Death, which if you guys haven't checked out, it's on YouTube somewhere. So DC did these things called like Showcase, where it's like 10 to 15 minute long, like cartoons. And they have random ones all the time. I think Adam Strange is one, Jonah Hex is one, Green Arrow. They did one on Death. Fantastic. I suggest you check it out. I loved it. Loved it. It's like 10, 15 minute long animation. Anyways, so I thought this was a 9.6. I graded this around 9.6. My brother graded around a 9.6. And lo and behold, it gets an 8.5. So then what do? I look at it and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to send it back. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, okay, let me, I use this little thing on the back. You can scan shows me the grader notes, and it says, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, I could see maybe like a 9.4, sure, but like, I was like, this brick is, way good. It's like super nice. And it says, slight crease on bottom right cover, or front cover. And I'm looking at over and over and over, getting in the light, everything like that. I'm like, I can't see anything. Even now, it's hard to see. And it's like going over and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what are they seeing? Like, clearly they made a mistake. I'm sending this back. And then one last time I looked it over, and if you guys don't know how they made these covers, very interesting. I love it, actually. So they had a painting by whoever it was in the middle, and then they would take these like borders and they would put physical objects, like real objects in it. And so if you get the original art, it's like this deep. So you have the painting, right? But then it's like, it's pushed up, the painting is pushed up, and you have like, like this much room of physical objects, and then they take a picture of it, and that's what becomes on that. So in this one, for example, they have, it looks like the drawing, obviously, the art, and then they have like these vines with like, it's probably plastic, it looks like plastic ivy, and it has to be plastic or they'd probably die. And like right on, like they have like stems, and so then right on like the stem of the ivy is a crease that literally goes along with the stem, and so that's super hard to see. And I was like, oh, okay, I can see why. But yeah, so I didn't see it, my brother didn't see it, and so that's why I got an A5. Long-winded story just to tell you that. But this art is very cool. I always like it. I think Sandman #1 came up in auction a long time ago. Probably sold for, I don't know, 100,000 or something, 50. Anyways, $99. We got this homage cover, a JUCO variant cover. Jesco, sorry. Sorry, I'm looking at the cover. I think Jesco is the guy that did all those Marvel Masterpiece cards back in the day, like when I was a kid. Can't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure. Silver Surfer Black, Jesco variant, Virgin. And if you don't know what a Virgin is, well, a Virgin cover, anyways, is normally they have the trade dress that says like Silver Surfer, #1, Marvel, blah, 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 all that junk on it. Virgin just means it has nothing on it. It's just blank cover, which is kind of cool. So you get to see the art as is. $4.79 for 9.8. Spectacular Spider-Man 27, first Frank Miller Daredevil. So this predates Daredevil 158. So, right? Yeah. Thought it'd be 9.4, got 9.6, 145. No, whatever. And then we got this X-Men 135. Great, it came out great. I was hoping for 129. Slide these down. So now, it's not a rant. It's more of a question. And I looked online, so I'm not like dumb and just going to ask a question without looking online. So I looked online. I couldn't find any real information. Now, obviously, I am not like, I guess, the biggest sleuth in this category. But so for all my Star Trek fans out there, I remember it was back in the day. My dad and my mom. It was Star Trek: The Next Generation came on late at night. That's like my Star Trek. Came late at night. I was just like a little wee kid, and I remember like sometimes my parents would let me like sit in their bed with them as they watched Star Trek because that's what they watched. That was like one of the shows that I can remember, anyways. I came out in '87, so I was like 2, so it had to have been like the later seasons. But nonetheless, over the course of my many years on this planet, I think I have seen most episodes. I recently, every once in a while, go back and watch like some here and there. One I just started watching again. By the way, let me tell you something. Maybe I'm picky and choosy of the episodes I'm watching and getting rid of the bad, but yes, the costumes are very low budget. And you can clearly see that they're on a set. But it has like it's like late 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and it has this like charm about the set. Like it clearly has the late 80s, early 90s like color palette, and it's like, even though it's outdated and old looking, it still has like this charm that I actually kind of like about it. Like, the greens that they use and the purples that they use, like those types of 90s colors. So maybe it's just like brings me back nostalgia. But acting, fantastic. Story, plot, like the dialogue, great. Like really, really good, engaging. Like I watched it and I was like, I've never seen this episode. And I was like, oh, I really loved it. I watched the one where Geordi and Data go into the holodeck and they do like Sherlock Holmes things, and Moriarty is the villain, but he becomes basically conscious. And then that was the first episode in season 2, and then they promised to basically work on it or whatever. And then season 6, Ship in a Bottle episode, he comes back and he tricks Picard and whoever that other random guy was, and Data, thinking that he left the holodeck. Spoilers. And so they're like, how can this holodeck machine or like image basically leave the holodeck? But what actually Moriarty did was he created a holodeck within the holodeck that made them think that they were in the real space, so he could get all the codes and everything. Oh, fantastic episode. So then what they did is they created a holodeck within the holodeck, so like multiple holodecks all within, to trick him into thinking that he left the holodeck and left the spaceship to give him the code so they could move away from the sun that was going to turn into a planet or something like that. Anyways, destroy the thing. And then like they were dealing with the simulation theory like in the 80s and early 90s, when I literally probably just heard about it like 5-8 years ago. I'm sure it existed for a long time, but it's like just crazy stuff that they were doing with, like, that's like Matrix level like thinking. And I've never seen anything like that before. Obviously I've seen it in the Matrix, but until I recently saw this, I was like, I don't remember anything about the simulation theory and all that kind of stuff, prior to the Matrix. Now I see it in Star Trek, and very interesting. I loved it. And the whole episode was engaging too. My question is, long-winded. So my question is, I watched the intro, and I've seen it a million times, but then I really started paying attention to the intro, and intro of the show. And I have no idea how they did this effect. Now I know most of it's like models and painted glass. I can pick up on that kind of stuff, and I'm assuming, like, here, we can just watch it. So I'm assuming this purple thing, that's painted glass, and if you don't know what painted glass is, it's fantastic. Like, the amount of talent that goes into it is just ridiculous. I'll put a picture of what they did with like Star Wars and stuff like that. Love it. Like, so talented. Like, true talent, it stands the test of time. It doesn't, like, people recognize good talent. Anyways, this is fantastic. This cloud thing, how in the world did they do this cloud thing? My best guess is it's painted glass that they have different layers and they go through it. But I don't think so. Like, I've looked at it so many times, and I'm assuming this planet right here with the swirlies is literally just a painted glass over their stars, and they warp the image somehow, and because they didn't really have CGI technology. I mean, they did. Like, Tron came out in 82, and the Star Trek, the movie Wrath of Khan, came out in 82 as well, and that used CGI for that planet scene, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And Tron, obviously, was a lot of CGI, but it's very primitive. They might have had some technology where they could warp the image to make it look like it's kind of moving. Obviously, it's a flare, whatever called a camera flare. That's pretty doable. And then obviously these planets are models, and I'm assuming they took the model and they put some kind of light inside the model, and as they panned around it, it kind of gave it that glow. And then you can kind of see the cut right here between the inside the Saturn's rings, or whatever planet's ring it is, and this new scene. And so I'm assuming these stars that are moving forward are on a different plate than what the starship is on, and they kind of move through, and I'm not sure exactly how they did the stars, but I could probably guess. And then this part where the spaceship goes forward and kind of morphs, like, elongates. I'm assuming that's a camera trick that you can do that with like your hand. You can go like this, move it around, and if you have a slow shutter speed, I think that's what it is, it picks up like kind of like movement. So I'm assuming they did that with the model. But I could be all wrong. Maybe someone out there can tell me if any of these things I'm saying is correct. I'm assuming it's a lot of glass painted and obviously the models, but the clouds in the beginning, I have no idea how they did that. And this, I don't believe the CGI technology was good enough to do something like that in 87, nor would they do it on a TV budget. So yeah, if someone out there, sorry, there's probably one person out there likes what I'm talking about. And you guys are like, oh, David, shut up. Move on with the comments. But if one person out there maybe knows, point me in the right direction, because I looked online, I couldn't find anything about the intro and how they made it, other than they used models. I know that. But that cloud sequence, the little, I don't know, nebula clouds, whatever, that's what I'm curious about. How did they do that? Where are we? Fantastic Four, 74. Diving 80 got 7. But if you haven't checked out that episode, Ship in the Bottle is the second one. I don't remember what the first one is. Fantastic episode if you're into Star Trek. Fantastic. I don't know. It was great. It was engaging. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen it before. I feel like I've seen most of them, but I could be wrong. Green Lantern 40. W60 got 6.5. 249. Like, I don't really get this book that often, but I got like 2 like a couple weeks ago. Now I got a third one. Sometimes when it rains, it pours. I remember I got Captain America Comics #1, right? Obviously a huge deal. I got one. And then 2 months later, I got another one. But that was many, many years ago. Haven't had one since. So I got 2 like back to back and then haven't had one since. First appearance of Wendigo. Got a 7.5. Thought it'd be 7.0. 189. So this is technical terms. It's 182, but technical terms, it's the third appearance of Wolverine, but it is a cameo in number 180 and a cameo in 182. Full first appearance in 181. His second full appearance is Giant Size X-Men 1, and then his third full first appearance is X-Men 4 for Wolverine. So 80 and 82 are not really considered full appearances. They're cameos, but he appears. 199. I mean, all these pretty much came back the grade I was hoping for. New Gods, got some Jack Kirby. 145. Yeah, so if I don't say the grades, that means it came back exactly what I was hoping it would. Yes, Tales of Suspense, 48. First appearance of Mr. Doll. That's a terrible name, Mr. Doll. New Iron Man suit. This is the more classic Iron Man. He was gray in the first episode. Then in issue 40, he went to all gold, which wasn't very good. And then he got this red and gold, which is his classic suit. Oh, I thought it'd be 2.5. Got 3.5. So, yay. 329. You know what's interesting? I think it's actually harder to grade lower grades than it is higher grades. And the reason why is because when you're in the lower grades, you can have so many variants of what is wrong with it. Like you have a big piece missing from a corner, right? You have a piece missing or you have spine split, and there's so many different degrees of things that go wrong, so each thing's not equal. Like a giant spine split that goes half the spine versus like a big piece missing, like they could both be in the same grade but have different things, or you could have big staining. When it comes to easier for like 9.8s, 9.6s, and 9.4s, like in the 9s, it's just like, okay, let's look for how many tiny little things are wrong with it. And usually the only tiny things you can have wrong with a 9.0 and above is little color breaks. Whether it's like a tiny crease up here, down here, on the corners, or little, usually spine ticks along the spine. That's usually it. So as you get lower grades, it's actually a lot harder to grade. It's easier in some sense because it's just low, but it's harder. And also, the grades don't mean as much, so that makes it a little easier. So the difference between, like in this book, what is it? A 2.5. The difference in price between a 2.5, a 3.0, a 3.5, a 2.0, a 4.0, they're all about the same. So it doesn't really make that much difference if you're a little off on grading, because the price-wise is usually generally around the same. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be accurate. I'm just saying if you're a little off, it makes a difference. But it'd be really hard. Like if I had an action number 1 where it does make a huge deal if you go from a 2.0 to a 2.5 or a 1.8 to a 2.0. It's like I'd look at that thing 1,000 times and I'd be like, what grade is this? You know? And then when I get the grade, I would have to look at them like, did they overgrade? Did they undergrade? Like back from CGC, should I send it in again? And that would be the hard part because you look at it and you're like, oh my God, is this a 2.0 or a 2.5? Because that's, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars of difference. And you just have to look at it and like, oh, that'd be hard. But on this book, right? It's like, what did I think it was? I thought it'd be a 2.0. I got a 2.5. So, I mean, rest of the stuff I've been accurate all along, and then you get the lower grades, and actually I've been doing better. Not saying it's just probably the person who's judging it is like, you know, it's like this one. Okay, missing staple, torn out, lots of cover creasing, and lots of cover creasing on the back. Some writing on the cover. So they probably go like me. I look at them like, oh, it looks pretty junky. It's a 2.0. But someone else, oh, it's pretty junky. It's a 2.5. All right, Teen Titans, number 1. That'd be 6.0, got 6.0. So, I mean, everything's been pretty much on par. So that's good. What is this? What tier is this? This is economy. 279. Here we go. I got a bunch of World's Finest comics. None of them came close to the grade I was hoping, but this one is an 8.0. Or sorry, 8.5. I thought it'd be a 9.2. So way off on this one. But this is a Neil Adams cover, and I know I said in my top investment comic books, oh, get some Neil Adams stuff. Well, I want to specify that for some reason, World's Finest is not I'm not saying it's a bad series, but for some reason, it's not like the series that you think of to get that's going to, it's not expensive. It's not expensive. Obviously, the early issues, yes. But like, what is this? $65. Neil Adams Batman cover. It's just not, I don't know why. It's just not a desired series, to be honest. Even though it's Neil Adams. Is it his best work? No, it is not his best work. I'll say that much. Superman looks a little weird. Batman looks a little weird. But I don't know. It's just not that desired series. So I would not put Neil Adams Batman's on this list of investment for World's Finest. He also did a couple other ones. It just really depends. Like there's some Brave and Bolds that are pretty good. I don't know what it is. Like maybe it's just, for some reason, it's just not desired. I don't know why. Don't know. But I mean, I got a lot of other World's Finest on here. You know, it's like 184 and a 94, $159, 186 and an 85, $59, 187 and an 80, $49. It's like, you know, 194 and a 92, $129. 197 and 90, $89. Like that's what I have, and that's what I'm pricing them at. And that's, I feel like a good fair market value. So it's not very expensive in the high grades. Generally, if you're going to collect that run, since the run is pretty inexpensive, or at least in, you know, the 60s era, right around that time, I would suggest, you know, 9.0s and above. That's what I would suggest. You definitely, really, when you're investing in comics and also buying into comics, like if you buy what you love, obviously, but if you're buying with the intent of I'm buying what I love and I want to make sure it's like investable, resellable in the future, there's almost like a price point that you have to get into per book. Each book is different. Each series is different. But it's almost like, yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if you had 9.8s of all those. Now those are the best ones, or 9.6s. But it's like you're getting like an 8.0, even though I'm selling 8.0s. It's like, yeah, it's cheap, and it's nice if you want to fill your run. But as far as like for example, 187 and an 8.0 I have listed for $49. In 10 years' time, maybe, like that's the thing with this book. Like 187 and an 8.0, I don't have it. It's down over there. But 187 and 8.0, it's kind of like those books are like, if someone wants to pay, they can pay, right? So I could list it because there's not many on eBay. It's not a hot issue, so people aren't going to be listing a ton of them. I'll probably be the only one that has one, so I could list it for $99 and it'll sit forever. But maybe it'd sell fast to that one person that wants it, needs it, and is willing to pay $99 and doesn't care. Or I could put it at a more fair market value at like $49, and which I believe is a good price for the book. And instead of selling in maybe like 2 to 3 years, it would sell in maybe 6 months or a year. I don't know how long it'll take to sell, but a lot less if I put it up for $99. So yeah, but if you had that book in 10 years time, like sure, you could put it up for $99 and it could sell in 10 years time. Like if you bought it now, 10 years later, you listed it, you probably listed it for $99 and maybe it'd take you like a year to sell it or something like that. So it's like, okay, you doubled your money, but at the same time, if you put that in auction, like if I put that book in auction, it'd probably sell for like basically around the price that I have it at, $49. If 10 years from now you took that same book and put it in an auction, I could sell for $50 to $80. So it's like, it's like certain books are just not that investable. I don't know how to say it. But the good thing is, I don't think it'll go down. So you can park your money somewhere, and it's like, oh, you'll get a little bit of gain. But like, I don't think if you bought any this World's Finest that I have, an 8.0 and 187, I don't think if you bought it for $49, like you're not going to get your $49 back at any point. Like you could probably sell it at any time and get basically that money. In like 10 years time, you probably get a little more. So it won't go down. Like it really depends on when you buy it. Sorry, I've been ranting. What is this? X-Men 13. Came back to grade. I was hoping we were 159. Thanks for all those people who listen to my long rants. And if anyone can help me to figure out how they made those little cloud smoke thingies, that would be grateful. My best guess, I mean, I can't say CGI. I just don't feel like CGI was at the point where it could do something like that, let alone even if it could, they would put it in intro for a Star Trek TV show in 1987. I could be wrong.